We are counting down the top 10 wildest places in America where empty air follows strict rules. Most people look at a mountain and see just rocks and trees. They look at a valley and see a pretty view. But the real story is what moves invisibly through the air. Radio waves, satellite signals, and magnetic fields interact with the landscape in ways that can trick even the best modern tools. A phone map can lie, a compass can drift, a radio can go silent, not because it broke, but because the shape of the ground killed the signal. This list tracks the spots where geology and physics team up to confuse technology. The penalty for not knowing these rules is getting lost or stranded. The reward is understanding why your device just failed. And the stakes are real, because these invisible traps are still active right now. The number one spot goes to the place where the rules are so strict they actually shape the culture. Let's begin with number 10. Fact number 10, the Hidden Valley Blackout. There is a valley in Virginia that people call Hidden Valley, and the rumor says it blocks every signal that tries to enter. The story claims the limestone rock is so dense that it acts like a shield. It sounds like a natural bunker where phones and radios go to die. But the geology tells a different story. Limestone does not block radio waves any better than other common rocks. It actually lets most signals pass right through. The real reason for the silence is the shape of the basin. The valley dips low and steep walls rise on all sides. Radio waves like to travel in straight lines. When a ridge stands in the way, the signal hits the dirt and stops. It does not get absorbed by special rock physics. It just runs out of line of sight. What's wild is that the silence is rarely total. Signals bounce over ridges. They diffract around edges. So the blackout is usually just a lot of weak, patchy zones. The valley is not a magic shield. It is just a deep hole in the coverage map. And that hole is still there today. Drivers who rely on streaming music lose it at the rim. The rock stays put, so the signal stays weak. Fact number 9. The river signal, Bounce, Delaware. Water Gap looks like a wide open cut between Pennsylvania and New Jersey. A river flows through it, and the sky seems big enough for any satellite. Hikers assume their GPS will work perfectly here. Yet people often report their location drifting by huge amounts. The dot on the screen slides sideways. It puts them in the river or halfway up a cliff. The rumor says the gap has a magnetic problem or a blind spot. The real cause is the hard quartzite cliffs that line the river. These rocks act like giant mirrors for radio signals. Satellites send signals down from space. When those signals hit the cliffs, they bounce. The receiver on your phone gets confused. It sees the direct signal and the bounced signal at almost the same time. This is called multipath error. The phone tries to do the math, but the extra distance from the bounce throws it off. The result is a track that zigzags even when you walk in a straight line. It gets crazier when the water is calm because the river reflects signals too. So the device gets hit with echoes from the rock and the water. This happens right now to anyone hiking the steep trails. The gap bends the signal, and the map takes the blame. Fact number 8. The Ridge Shadow Trap. Cheaha Mountain in Alabama holds a reputation as a satellite dead zone. Hikers often say the summit kills GPS and cell reception. The story suggests there is something about the highest point in the state that pushes signals away. But evidence shows the summit actually connects well. It has line of sight to towers. The real trouble starts when you step off the top. The trails drop fast into deep hardwood forests. This creates two problems at once. First, the ridge itself blocks the path to distant towers. This is called a terrain shadow. It is like standing behind a brick wall. The signal cannot curve around the mountain fast enough to reach you. Second, the thick canopy of trees scatters what little signal remains. Leaves and branches absorb radio energy, especially when they are wet. So a phone that had 4 bars at the overlook drops to 0 bars in the woods. The payoff is knowing that the dead zone is not the peak. It is the shadow behind it. You can have a signal, walk 50 feet down a slope, and lose it completely. That sharp cutoff catches people off guard, and it remains a risk today. The trees grow back every year, and the ridge shadow never moves. Fact number 7, the Magnetic Mountain. Myth Brown Mountain in North Carolina is famous for mysterious lights, but a second legend says the mountain is full of iron ore that spins compasses and crashes drones. The story claims a massive magnetic anomaly hides under the trees. It sounds exciting, like a sci-fi movie. But geological surveys show the mountain is mostly granite. Granite is a common rock that does not hold enough iron to swing a needle. Tests on rock samples show no strong magnetic pull. So why do devices fail? The answer is usually the terrain. The ridges are steep and the valleys are tight. GPS signals get blocked by the slopes, just like in the Delaware Water Gap. When a drone loses GPS lock, it drifts. Pilots blame magnetism, but the real culprit is lost sight of the sky. Compass errors often come from metal the person is carrying, like a phone or a belt buckle, not the mountain itself. A survey in 1916 noted a small deflection, and that one note grew into a giant myth. The reality is much simpler. The mountain is just rock. The mystery comes from how easily our tools get confused by steep ground. And that confusion still happens today. Fact number 6, the summit static generator Mount Washington in New Hampshire is known for the worst weather in the world, but it also has a reputation for radio static. People claim the clouds themselves are full of electric noise that drowns out signals. The clouds play a role, but not the way people think. It is not just cloud static, it is the hardware reacting to the storm. When wind blows ice and snow at hurricane speeds, it creates a charge. This is called precipitation static. Ice builds up on antennas. It changes their shape. It makes them heavy. Then the wind shakes them. Loose connections rattle and create electrical noise. Sharp metal points can also leak charge into the air, creating a hiss called corona discharge. So the radio sounds like it is frying, but the noise is coming from the metal itself fighting the weather. This happens on high peaks across the country, from Rainier to Pikes Peak. It is wild because the air looks empty, but it is actually a stream of charged particles hammering the gear. The result is a noisy signal that clears up as soon as the wind dies down. This effect is still active right now. Every winter storm turns the summit into a static machine. Fact number 5, the Spotty Highway fade. The Highland Scenic Highway in West Virginia is a beautiful 43-mile drive, but locals and visitors warn about a 50-mile dead zone where no phone will ever work. The story paints it as a complete black hole. The truth is messier and more dangerous. The road does not have zero signal. It has spotty signal. The highway runs along high ridges in the Monongahela National Forest. It is far from towns, so carriers have not built many towers. The road also brushes the edge of the National Radio Quiet Zone, which limits how loud towers can be. But the main issue is the forest. Tall spruce and fir trees line the road. They act like a green tunnel that eats radio waves. A driver might get a bar of service for 10 seconds on a curve, then lose it for 10 miles. That flicker is the real hazard. It gives false hope. You might try to send a text, and the battery drains while the phone hunts for a tower that is barely there. The penalty for believing the total blackout myth is not checking your phone at all. The penalty for ignoring the spotty reality is counting on a call that won't go through. And the trees are still there today, keeping the signal weak and unpredictable. Fact number 4, the signal wall illusion. Linville Gorge in North Carolina is often called the Grand Canyon of the East. It is deep, wild, and rugged. It is also a place where GPS units seem to hit a wall. Hikers watch their location dot freeze or jump across the river. This is not a glitch in the satellite, it is a geometry trap. The gorge is narrow and the walls are steep. This limits the view of the sky to a thin ribbon. A GPS receiver needs to see satellites from different angles to do the math. When the walls cut off the side angles, the math gets weak. The position error grows. Then the rock walls reflect signals, adding echoes to the mix. The receiver tries to guess where it is, but the data is bad, so the dot drifts. It can drift hundreds of feet. In a place with cliffs and dense brush, a wrong location can lead someone off the trail and into trouble. The mistake is trusting the screen over the ground. The gorge bends with the rules of navigation. The signal wall is just the limit of what the technology can handle, and it happens right now to anyone descending into the cut. Fact number 3, the Valley Bowl. Effect Caves. Cove in the Great Smoky Mountains looks like a perfect open valley. It is wide and flat, yet cell phones often show no service across the entire loop. People assume the park jams the signals to keep it quiet. The real reason is the bowl shape. The valley floor sits low, surrounded by ridges that rise 2,000 feet. These ridges act like the rim of a deep dish. Cell towers sit outside the park boundaries. For a signal to reach the cove, it has to pass over the ridges and down to the floor. But radio waves do not like to bend that much. The ridges block the direct line. The signal shoots over the top of the valley, leaving the floor in a shadow. It is simple line-of-sight physics. If you cannot see the tower cannot see you. The signal dies at the ridge line. Service only returns near the entrance, where the bowl opens up. This creates a dead zone that covers thousands of acres. It is not a policy, it is just a mountain getting in the way. And the bowl is still there today, blocking calls just like it always has. Fact number 2, the spy base. Myth Sugar Grove in West Virginia is home to a naval station that has been part of rumors for decades. The story says the base actively jams all signals in the area to protect secrets. People think their phones die because a government switch flipped them off. The reality is less aggressive, but more interesting. The base is part of the National Radio Quiet Zone. The goal is to listen, not to jam. The antennas there are designed to pick up faint signals from space or elsewhere. Jamming would actually hurt those antennas. It would be like shining a flashlight in your own eyes while trying to see the stars. Instead of jamming, the area uses strict planning. Cell towers are kept away or kept quiet. So the dead zone is actually a quiet zone. The lack of signal is the result of not building towers rather than blocking existing ones. The silence is there to keep the air clean for listening. The reward is understanding that the base is a giant ear, not a giant jammer, and it is still listening today. Fact number 1, the Quiet Zone, dimmer, the Green Bank National Radio. Quiet Zone is the most famous empty spot on the American signal map. The rumor says Wi-Fi is illegal, microwaves are banned, and diesel cars are mandatory. It sounds like a place frozen in the 1950s. The truth is that the zone works like a dimmer switch, not an on-off switch. It covers 13,000 square miles. In the outer areas, you can have Wi-Fi and cell phones, but the towers are aimed carefully to avoid spraying noise toward the telescope. In the core area, near the giant dish, the rules get strict. That is where the no Wi-Fi reality lives. The telescope is so sensitive it can detect the energy of a snowflake hitting the ground. A single rogue router could blind it, so the zone manages noise based on distance. It is a gradient. The closer you get, the quieter you must be. They even have a truck that patrols for interference, looking for bad wiring or sparking motors. The crazy part is that this is the only place in the country where empty air is the law. The map is defined by what you cannot hear, and the telescope is scanning the sky right now, depending on that silence, to find the secrets of the universe. All 10 of these places show us that the map on our screen is not the territory. The ground still shapes the signal, the rock still blocks the wave, and the invisible rules of geography are still running the show.